Good afternoon. It is exactly 4 p.m. East African time here in Nairobi, Kenya. Thank you for joining TV47 News Now at 4 p.m. with I, Sheila Chelangat. But first, let's take a look at what is making headlines at this hour. The highlights. President William Ruto has begun a 4-day visit to the Nyanza region in the lead-up to this year's Madaraka Day celebrations. Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has encouraged farmers in Kisii and Nyamira counties to increase coffee cultivation, noting that the sector has significantly improved compared to previous years. And women leaders in Murang'a have strongly denounced the growing cases of gender-based violence across the country. They are calling for collective action from the public and all relevant stakeholders to address the issue decisively. All right, thank you for joining. The 15 minutes of this bulletin begins now. We begin in Nyanza, where President William Ruto began his tour of the Nyanza region on Thursday ahead of this year's Madaraka Day celebrations set to take place in Homa Bay County. Accompanied by ODM leader Raila Odinga, cabinet secretaries and other leaders, the president is expected to inspect and launch several development projects across the region. Ruto kicked off the tour in Kisumu, where he launched the Lake Victoria Point housing project, followed by the commissioning of the Makasembo project.
Kisumu hoye! Kisumu hoye! Tuendelee tusiendelee? Mimi niko na mambo mengine mawili matatu ya hapa Kisumu. Sawa sawa? Nilienda China juzi. Tumekubaliana na serikali ya China. Ile reli iliyokwama kule Naivasha, sasa tumekubaliana hiyo reli ikuje mpaka Kisumu, iende mpaka Malaba, na hiyo kazi itaanza kujengwa tukisha maliza ile taratibu iko. Munanielewa jameni? Ile uchumi wa sehemu hii inayotegemea pamba, inategemea miwa, inategemea mchele. Sababu hiyo tumeweka program ya leasing ya factories zetu, tuhakikisha kwamba factories zetu za miwa inalipa wakulima, inalipa wafanyikazi, na mwisho wa mwaka huu tutakuja kupatiana bonus ya mambo ya kilimo ya miwa, ili wakulima wa miwa wapate pesa kama wale wakulima wa chai na kahawa. Tuendelee tusiendelee? Vile vile tayari
And Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has encouraged farmers in Kisii and Nyamira counties to increase coffee production, citing significant improvements in the sector. Speaking on Thursday, Kindiki noted that when the Kenya Kwanza administration assumed office, coffee farmers were earning around 60 shillings per kilo. However, he said government reforms have since more than doubled farmers' earnings. He attributed the growth to targeted efforts aimed at streamlining the sector and improving returns for growers.
Tuendelee hiyo kazi. Hiyo tumefanya in 2.5 years. We have another 2.5 years to complete the journey and make the cost of living more manageable to the majority of the people of Kenya. Na ndio unaona tuko very serious. We are not available for politics and pettiness. We are very focused. Kwa sababu hiyo kazi, that is what will count at the end of the day. Hakuna kiongozi atapikwa akuliwe nyama. Kiongozi, faida ya kiongozi ni kutafutia wananchi maisha bora kuliko mahali alikuta maisha, na kuhakikisha kwamba mwananchi amepungukiwa na mzigo wa gharama ya maisha. That is our focus and we are very, very focused. Kuna watu wanataka kutuingiza kwa siasa, tumewaambia we are not available. We are not available. We are men at work. Na iko kazi bado hatujakamilisha. We want to focus on that work. Mambo ya siasa ikifika, tutakuja kunyoroshana siku ya kampeni. Tuendelee na hiyo barabara jameni. Tuendelee na hiyo barabara. Vile vile, unajua ya kwamba kuna sehemu zetu, nyumba zingine hazina stima bado. Tunakazana na kuhakikisha kwamba kila mwananchi amepata stima kwake. Kwa sababu stima sio raha ya viongozi peke yao na matajiri. Stima ni haki ya kila mwananchi. Haijalishi nyumba yako ni ya mabati ama ya mawe ama ya mbao ama ya matope, upate stima kwako.
And back to the capital, Nandi Hills lawmaker Bernard Kitur, appearing as a Kenyan citizen together with Dr. Geoffrey Kiprop, have proposed the introduction of a health promotion levy in the soft drinks industry to the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning. The duo made the proposal during the ongoing public hearings on the Finance Bill 2025. The purpose of the levy is to combat the rising consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages in Kenya, which has led to increased cases of obesity, diabetes and other non-communicable diseases. This proposal that the money collected through the levy be used to support public health campaigns as well as school nutrition programs.
Typically you have a small number of patients, about 20 to 30 patients, and typically you would have...
I think now you move quickly to the tax issue that you want to introduce. At least we have given us some background. Move quickly to the tax issue.
All right, I will articulate that. So, when we conduct clinical trials in the country, there is a need to bring in the investigative products or the medicine or placebos that are to be used for this, and these come in kits. Now, these items, when they are imported by the likes of Roche, that are partners to government in research, they are being subjected to VAT. How has this problem resulted? The HS code, and I'd request that that's the right slide. So that HS code there is a new HS code. Every 5 years, the World Customs Organization revises the HS codes, which is what we base our own tariff codes on. And so in 2022, they introduced a particular HS code to track clinical trials, just so that they're able to track cross-border movement of medicine for research. And so what has happened is, you will see on the next page that in Kenya, pharmaceutical products are largely exempt now. When the VAT law first came into play in 2013, pharmaceutical products were zero-rated. But over time, all of these have then been migrated into the exemption schedule. So what has happened? This particular code that came through in effective 1st July 2022 does not sit on the exempt schedule, which means that unlike other medicine products, they are being subjected to VAT. And that means that Roche, who is a partner to government in conducting clinical trials, which government doesn't pay for, it is Roche sponsors this 100%, is having to pay VAT, which means that whatever is available to fund research is limited in terms of scope. So what we are requesting, Honorable Chair and Committee, is that this particular tariff code be introduced.
And moving on, women leaders in Murang'a have strongly condemned the rising cases of gender-based violence across the country, calling for united efforts from the public and all stakeholders to tackle the crisis head-on. This comes days after a 7-year-old girl was found murdered and buried in a shallow grave inside a house in Nyeri. Our reporter Robert Gekure has the details.
Speaking during an economic empowerment forum in Maragua, the women leaders made a passionate appeal for collective action in the fight against sexual and gender-based violence, which they say remains rampant in the county.
We want to create the awareness. Tuambiane hii maneno inatokana na familia na maneighbors. tutadiru nayo aje?
Led by Maragua MP Mary Wamaua and Murang'a County Woman Representative Betty Maina, the leaders described the situation as unfortunate, noting that Kenya continues to record a high number of cases targeting women and girls.
Huyo nae, right ya huyo mtoto amefanyiwa hiyo kitendo. Tumemwacha wapi huyo mtoto? Huyo mwenye kuna jisi mtoto, unauliza nini mtoto mdogo ni nini umeona mzuri? Kasichana kadogo kaliuliwa hapa Maragua, kalibakwa na kakauliwa. Hiyo ilinipea uchungu sana kwa moyo wangu. Kuna matatizo mingi imekuwa ikiendelea.
Nominated MP Sabina Chege added her voice to the call, urging families to embrace love and unity as the foundation of a violence-free society, calling on the judiciary to ensure justice is served.
Huyo mtu jamii isikae ati waseme kwa sababu ni rafiki ya familia ati yasamehewe. Hata machief, hiyo sio kesi ya kwenda kwa chief ati mtamaliziania kwa chief. Hao watu washikwe wapelekwe kotini.
Robert Gakure, TV47, Murang'a.
Thank you very much, Robert. Moving on, civil society organizations are raising the alarm over delays in the implementation of Kenya's Public Benefit Organizations Act 2013. Despite it officially coming into force a year ago, the civil society groups have now called for urgent action, warning that the continued delay is undermining freedom of association, legal clarity, and development efforts. The PBO Act, operationalized by President William Ruto during the 2024 UN Civil Society Conference, was meant to create a transparent, accountable framework for civil society operations. The organizations are calling on Parliament to prioritize the Act, urging government agencies to finalize regulations and support the transition of NGOs to fully recognized public benefit organizations.
Okay, some of the preliminary challenges that we are expected to face is the question of where some of the organizations belong. There are organizations which are CBOs at a local level. Others belong to trust. Others are registered with the National NGO Coordination Board, the initial one initially. And all these belong to different regimes.
The fact that we are transitioning to the PBO space mean that we'll actually now be having a larger and wider space regulated by the PBOs themselves. And this opens up wider windows for more people, more Kenyans to continue to engage through public participation, which is meaningful, because you're aware that a number of the public participation we witnessed before have been controlled in a way that people are supposed to be shown to have participated for ticking a box that we've met that requirement.
And in the world of sports, Kenya had an outstanding performance at the African Schools Chess Championship held in Mombasa, securing a total of 22 medals, 9 gold, 7 silver and 6 bronze. Uganda followed in second place with 6 medals, while South Africa took third place with a total of 2 medals. The championship saw participation from countries across the African continent. In addition, Mudasa Academy from Vihiga County will proudly represent Kenya at the World School Chess Championship set to take place in the United States this August.
It has been really competitive. Kenya has been always behind, but this time we have shown that the game have improved and Kenyans are ready to take the podium.
We want a grandmaster from Kenya. We want also several international masters from Kenya. And that is a work in progress. That's the long game that we are playing.
Some people see chess as a math, because you're always calculating. Others see chess as a science, but others also see chess as an art, because it can be beautiful to some extent, right?
Oh, it was okay. I'm coming out second place.
Yes.
It was a tough field, but I still managed to come out second. But hopefully next year, when we have the Africa Schools Individual Chess Championship, I will come out first place.
This was my first international event, and this was the best and the toughest of all that.
All right, that concludes News Now at 4 p.m. I am Sheila Chelangat. Do enjoy the rest of your viewership. Good afternoon.